Imagine loving someone so much that you'd cross through time itself just to hold them one more time. Imagine being a parent who has to choose between staying with your child or saving their future. In Outlander, family isn't just about being together. It's about the impossible choices we make, the years we lose, and the moments that make all the pain worth it. Okay. These are the family moments that broke us, healed us, and reminded us what love really means. Asterisk, every great family starts with a choice. For Jamie and Claire Fraser, that choice was each other. But choosing each other meant choosing a life where nothing would ever be simple. Their love story isn't just romance. It's the foundation of everything that comes after. It's messy, it's painful. And it's the most real thing about this show. Think about the first time Jamie held Claire's hand and promised her safety. He didn't just promise to protect her body, okay? He promised to honor who she was, even when he didn't understand her world. That's where their family began. Not with a child, not with a home, but with two people deciding that together was better than apart, no matter the cost. And the cost was high. Claire had to leave her first husband, Frank, behind in the 20th century. She had to give up everything familiar. Jamie had to risk his life, his family name, and his home. But what they built together became worth every sacrifice. They created a love that could survive war, distance, and even 200 years of separation. The moment that truly shows what family means to them. The print shop, 20 years apart. 20 years of living separate lives, raising separate children, becoming different people. Claire walks through that door, and Jamie sees the woman he loved like no time has passed at all. His face says everything: joy, disbelief, pain, relief. In that moment, we see what family really is. It's not about never leaving. It's about always coming back. Their reunion wasn't perfect. They had scars. They had secrets. Claire had raised a daughter Jamie never knew. Jamie had a son he couldn't claim, but they chose each other again. Chose to rebuild their family, even though it looked different than they'd imagined. That's the thing about the Frasers. Family isn't a perfect picture. It's the people you fight for, even when fighting seems impossible. Asterisk, there's a kind of pain that only parents understand. It's the pain of doing what's right when everything in you is screaming to do what feels good. Claire Fraser knows this pain better than anyone. She's a mother who had to choose between two centuries. And no matter what she picked, someone she loved would lose. Picture this. You're holding your newborn daughter. She's perfect. She's yours. But you know that if you stay in this time period, she might not survive. The man you love is here. Your heart is here, but your child's future is somewhere else. What do? Claire made the choice that would haunt her for 20 years. She walked through those stones at Crane Dun, carrying baby Brianna away from her father, back to a time where her daughter could grow up safe. Jamie never even got to hold her. That moment when Claire tells Jamie she's pregnant, and then, in the same breath, tells him she has to leave. You can see his heart break and mend and break again in seconds. He touches her belly, knowing this is the only time he'll ever feel his child move. He memorizes that moment because it has to last him a lifetime, and then he sends them away. He makes the choice to lose everything so they can have something, but the story doesn't end there. 20 years later, Claire has raised Brianna alone. She's told her daughter stories about a father who died at Culloden. She's kept Jamie alive in words and memories, but Brianna only knows him as a ghost. Then Claire discovers the truth. Jamie survived. He's alive in the past. And suddenly she has another impossible choice. Stay in the 20th century with the daughter she raised, or go back to the man she never stopped loving. She goes back, and this time she leaves her adult daughter behind. Can you imagine that conversation? Telling your child that you're leaving them to go back to a man they've never met? But here's what makes it beautiful. Brianna understands. Taught her what real love looks like. She taught her that some bonds can't be broken, not even by time. Asterisk, there are moments in television that change everything. Moments so raw and real that you forget you're watching actors on a screen. The moment Jamie Fraser meets his adult daughter Brianna for the first time is one of those moments. And nothing could have prepared us for it. Brianna has crossed through. The stones? She's left everything she knows, traveled 200 years into the past, all to meet a man she's only heard about in stories. Her mother's stories, history book stories. She's built this image in her mind of who her father is. But images aren't the same as the real thing. And she's terrified. What if he doesn't want her? What if she's not what he expected? What if crossing through time was a mistake? Jamie doesn't even know she exists. He's living his life at Fraser's Ridge, believing his only child died before he could hold her. Claire has told him Brianna is alive and grown, but he hasn't truly let himself believe it. How can you believe in something that sounds impossible? Then one day, he sees her. This tall, red-haired young woman standing in front of him. He knows her the way you know your own heartbeat. Watch his face in that scene. It's not just recognition. It's every moment he missed, crashing into him at once. Her first steps, her first words, her first day of school. Birthdays and scraped knees and bedtime stories. 20 years of being a father stolen from him, and now here she is, fully grown. A stranger who is somehow completely his, and then he touches her face. Just a gentle touch, like he's making sure she's real, like he's afraid she'll disappear. If he blinks, Brianna is crying. Jamie is crying. We're all crying, because this isn't just a happy reunion. This is grief and joy colliding. This is a father mourning the childhood he missed while celebrating the woman his daughter became without him. What makes this moment truly special is what comes after. Jamie doesn't pretend the lost years don't matter. Doesn't just pick up, like nothing happened. He asks about her life, wants to know everything. What she likes, what scares her, what makes her laugh. He's trying to fill 20 years of emptiness with conversation. And it's both beautiful and heartbreaking because no amount of talking can give back what time took from them. Asterisk, you know what? Nobody tells you about family. It's not the big moments that define it. It's not the weddings or the births or the perfect photographs hanging on your wall. It's the moments in between. The ones where you're standing at a crossroads and every choice feels wrong, but you choose anyway. That's where Outlander lives. In the impossible spaces where love demands everything and gives no guarantees. The Frasers don't get to build there. Family the normal way. They don't get Sunday dinners that happen every week for 40 years. They don't get to watch their kids grow up in real time. What they get instead is something most of us understand better than we'd like to admit. They get distance. They get time that moves too fast or too slow. They get relationships that have to survive on faith rather than presence. Think somehow, impossibly, they make it work. Think about what that really means. Jamie raises a daughter through stories he'll never hear her tell. Claire becomes a mother twice in 2 different centuries and has to learn what it means to let go both times. Brianna grows up with a father who's a legend, then meets him as a stranger and has to decide if the man matches the myth. Roger gives up his entire timeline, his career, his world, just to stand beside the woman he loves while she figures out where she belongs. These aren't fairy tale choices. These are the kinds of decisions that keep you awake at night. But here's the thing that makes Outlander different from every other show trying to make us cry. It doesn't pretend that love fixes everything. The Frasers come back to each other, yes, but they come back changed. They come back with scars. Jamie and Claire's second chance isn't a restart. It's a continuation of something that never actually stopped, even when they were centuries apart. When Brianna finally calls Jamie Da, it doesn't erase the 20 years he missed. It just means she's choosing to build something new from the ruins of what could have been. That's the truth about family that most shows won't touch. You don't get to undo the damage. You don't get those years back. The childhood Jamie missed with Brianna, gone forever. The life Claire could have had if she'd never touched those stones, erased. But what you do get is a choice. You can let the lost years destroy you, or you can fight like hell for the moments you still have left. The Frasers choose to fight. Every single time. And maybe that's why we can't stop watching their story. Because it gives us permission to believe that our own broken families might still be worth fighting for. That the relationships we've damaged, through distance or time or our own stupid mistakes, aren't beyond repair. That showing up late is still better than never showing up at all. Section 5. The families we choose when blood isn't the only bond. 2000 characters. Here's something powerful that Outlander quietly teaches us while we're busy crying over Jamie and Claire. The strongest families aren't always the ones you're born into. Sometimes the people who show up for you, who bleed for you, who reshape their entire lives around your survival, those people become more than friends. They become the family you chose when the world gave you nothing else. Murtagh Fraser isn't Jamie's father, but watch the way he looks at that boy. Watch how he crosses an ocean, survives a massacre, spends years searching through the aftermath of Culloden just to make sure Jamie made it out alive. That's not duty. That's not obligation to a clan or a name. That's a father's love wearing a different face. When Murtagh dies, Jamie doesn't just lose his godfather. He loses the man who raised him when his own father couldn't. He loses the one person who knew him before Claire, before the war, before everything that broke him and remade him into someone new. Then there's Fergus, a pickpocket from Paris who Jamie saves from a brutal life on the streets. Jamie doesn't adopt him because he needs a son. He adopts him because this boy needs a father, and Jamie knows what it's like to need someone to believe in you. Fergus grows up in Jamie's shadow, loses a hand protecting the family, builds his own life with Marsali, and creates the kind of legacy that proves family is something you build, not something you're handed. When Fergus struggles, when he doubts himself as a father, Jamie is there, not as a boss or a benefactor, but as a dad. Young Ian's story hits different because he chooses the Frasers over his own blood parents. He leaves Scotland, crosses the ocean, gives up his future with the family that raised him. All because being with Jamie and Claire feels more like home than home ever did. And when the Mohawk take him, when he has to sacrifice his freedom to save his aunt, he doesn't do it out of obligation. He does it because that's what you do for family. Real family. It's the kind that's worth trading your whole life for. Even the community at Fraser's Ridge becomes something more than neighbors. These are people from different clans, different countries, different beliefs, all trying to survive in a world that wants them gone. They protect each other's children. They share their food when winter gets brutal. They stand together when the outside world comes for them. It's not perfect. They fight. They disagree. But when it matters, they show up. That's family too. What makes these chosen family moments so powerful is how they mirror real life. Not everyone grows up with parents who understand them. Not everyone has siblings who have their back. Sometimes the family you're born into is the family you have to survive, and the family you choose is the family that saves you. Outlander doesn't shy away from that truth. It celebrates it. Because here's what the show understands. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. Showing up makes you family. Sacrifice makes you family. The Frasers collect broken people and give them somewhere to belong, and in return, those people become the foundation that keeps the whole family standing when everything else falls apart. Asterisk, here's what Outlander understands that so many other shows miss. Family isn't about being together all the time. It's not about perfect holiday dinners or everyone living under the same roof. Real family is about the choices you make when everything is falling apart. It's about loving people even when it costs you everything. It's about holding on when letting go would be easier. The Frasers lose each other over and over again. Claire and Jamie spend 20 years apart. Brianna grows up without her father. Jamie has a son he can never publicly claim as his own. Roger and Brianna raised children in a time period that's not their own. Every single member of this family has sacrificed something massive for the people they love. And that's exactly why. We can't look away because we see ourselves in their pain. Maybe we haven't traveled through time, but we've all felt distance from someone we love. We've all made choices that hurt. We've all wondered if we did the right thing by the people we care about. We've all had moments where we couldn't be there for someone who needed us. But Frasers live in the 18th century, but their struggles are completely modern, completely human, completely ours. What makes these moments melt our hearts isn't just the happiness. It's the earned nature of every smile, every hug, every reunion. When Jamie finally holds his daughter, we feel the weight of 20 lost years. When Claire walks back through the stones, we feel the courage it took to choose love over safety. When Roger sacrifices his own timeline to stay with Brianna, we feel the power of commitment. Nothing comes easy for this family, and that's exactly why everything means so much. And here's the beautiful part. Despite all the pain, despite all the separation and loss and impossible decisions, the Frasers never stop fighting for each other. They never give up. They cross oceans and centuries. They walk through fire. They risk their lives. Why? Because family isn't about convenience. It's about showing up, even when showing up seems impossible. That's the legacy of Outlander. It reminds us that love is a choice we make every single day. It shows us that family is the people we keep coming back to, no matter how far we have to travel. And it proves that some bonds are stronger than time itself. These moments melt our hearts because they show us what we all hope is true. That real love never dies. That family never really ends. And that coming home is always worth the journey. Asterisk.